ESPN to cut 500 jobs as COVID-19 erodes revenues. Are we sure it's just COVID-19? Let's see what they say. This is reported by the LA Times. ESPN is slashing 500 jobs as cost pressures from COVID-19 pandemic are accelerating to the sports media companies move into streaming. The cuts, which include 300 layoffs, were revealed Thursday in a memo from Jimmy Pitaro. He's the president of Walt Disney company-owned unit. Says, in addition to the layoffs, another 200 open positions will be eliminated. So basically, I guess they were going to, I don't know if they had already laid those people off or they were looking to fill those or they were going to be new jobs, but those won't be a thing. Prior to the pandemic, we had been deeply engaged in strategizing how best to position ESPN for future success amidst tremendous disruption in how fans consume sports. Pitaro said in a memo viewed by the Times, the pandemic's significant impact on our business clearly accelerated those forward-looking discussions. See, this sounds more like, okay, we were on our way to, because, you know, they had a series, like I think they had like 2 series of layoffs and firings and stuff like that. But when it's worded like that, when he says prior to the pandemic, right, we had been deeply engaged in strategizing how best to position ESPN for future success. And he said the pandemic's significant impact on our business has accelerated it. So that sounds to me like, okay, y'all were already in trouble. And all the, I guess the COVID thing, or rather the government thing, and how it impacted the world of sports, all that did was say, okay, yeah, y'all really got to start looking into this. The memo did not specify when the layoffs would take effect, but said employees will be learning about their future over the few weeks. ESPN lost a massive amount of its programming this year as the shutdown related to the Modelo virus crisis truncated its lineup of NBA, Major League Baseball, and other sports. The NBA playoffs were moved into the fall, putting them in competition with other events, which cut into the ratings. No. Don't you do that. Don't you do that. Don't you do that. Don't you do that. Don't do it. You don't get to do that. Absolutely not. No. No. We know why people weren't watching this. Okay? Like, it had little to do because this is the finals, right? They're going to prioritize that anyway if they cared about it. If they cared that much about basketball and NBA, they absolutely would have been watching that. They would have prioritized that over regular season games of MLB, though it's the latter half of them, and certainly would have over the NFL, right? Like, so to act like that had something to do with it is bogus. Absolutely bogus. Your ratings were taking a hit for a reason. And that is, people don't want to be lectured to when it comes to sports. And the longer y'all did that, the NBA was the absolute worst at that. They were the worst. They were the worst. All this social justice messaging on every other commercial related to the NBA. Social justice messaging on the courts. Social justice messaging on the jerseys. You couldn't get away from it from the pregame and the postgame. That's why people were not watching it. They still, and it baffles me that they still won't come to terms with that. Or rather, they know it, they just don't want to admit it publicly. Maybe they think because it throws their players under the bus and it's a business strategic move. I don't know. But that's a lie. right? That's not true. To sit up here and be like, well, the other events cut into their ratings. It's the NBA friggin' playoffs, bro. It's the NBA playoffs. They would prioritize that over the regular season for other sports. So even if it may cut into it a little bit, it's not going to cut into it in a significant amount like that. If anything, the other sports would have suffered a loss because they're focusing on that, right? Or suffer a major loss. But to be fair to them, a lot of folks, some of those sports were going into this rabbit hole, and even them, they're dealing with this same crap because people are like, you know what? I'd rather not watch this crap. I'll go watch something else. Play video games or something. There's probably more people playing NBA 2K than watching that crap. A lot of folks just didn't care for it. They don't watch sports, and this is the sports world doesn't seem to understand that. People watch sports for the most part as escapism. The only folks that will agree with that are the people that agree with your politics. But you should be smart enough to take the Michael Jordan approach when he was playing. Republicans buy sneakers too. And you can't alienate your fan base like that. And that has little to do with ESPN, though they're a bunch of woke idiots over there. They just feel the hit and it trickles down. And this is why I said, maybe not initially players would be, because a lot of idiots, definitely people that don't understand how ratings impact ultimately the players' paychecks. So you had these leftists, for example, when they would see that the ratings were falling, or they would see that people that would watch sports would post or something and be like, man, I'm not watching this year. I don't want to watch this crap. I don't care for this. They'll say something like, well, you don't watch it. You don't watch it. Screw you. We'll still be watching it. Like it's some club. Not understanding that impacts their bottom line. So I had stated that initially, because the TV deal's already done, right? Initially, they might not ever straighten up and fly right because they don't feel their pockets being hit yet. Right? So once the TV deals start to have to get renewed, you see revenue starts to drop, meaning the players' salaries start to drop. That's when they may get it. Maybe too late by then, but that's when they may get it. But to sit up here and blame the ratings on the competition with the other sports lets you know that even though we're talking about NBA playoffs and the NBA finals, that goes to show that these guys they're completely oblivious, or they know and they're just being dishonest, and they just don't want to come to terms with it publicly that, okay, from a business standpoint, that was not a good idea to go all in on social justice. So ESPN to be laying off 500, or they're cutting 500 jobs. I'm not saying that the COVID thing had absolutely nothing to do with it. I think it does play some role, but I can't say it plays the entire role, because you would think as people are sitting at the crib because they have nothing to do, that industry would have more eyes on it. So it's hard to say that, okay, that had everything to do with it. I'm not buying that.